What's up guys? It's Hate Me. Welcome to another video on our channel. Today I'm gonna have a little tutorial for you guys. It's gonna be a live tutorial, so a live commentary about creating stunt races like we do. At first I tried to make these races for a couple of times and never really started until like a few months ago, because I was always confused how to do them because there were ways to cheat. And by now I've made a couple of them and I think I know how to do them properly by now. Also, if you guys are playing on PC, feel free to make some really cool races for us. We're gonna fly them and make a video about it if they are good enough. So we would really like to see some more races we can fly. So if you want to have your race on YouTube, don't hesitate and send that in. You can do that by just joining our Discord server. You can find the link in the description below. Without further ado, let's go into the tutorial. So we are in the creator now. What we want to do is we click on race, obviously, and we don't want to do stunt race. We want to do air race. Stunt race has different physics. We don't want that. So we're going to go with air race. So now we are here and can fly around. To find a good location usually is where there's already some stuff you can fly through, because you can connect the the already set obstacles and tunnels and stuff like that into the race, which is always pretty cool in my opinion. So I actually haven't thought about where we're gonna go. Already made a race here. Made a race here. Already done so many races. But I guess for this video, we're gonna just start over here. So first of all, we gotta go into the race details. What we want to do is first you're gonna set the amount of players. I mean, there's not that much demand for those races because there's not many people who can fly them usually, at least in percentage. But since you never know, I'm gonna set it to 30 players. Number of laps, we're gonna make a lap race. We're gonna set it to jets with laser, noon, bright, and we're gonna turn traffic to off. I prefer it with traffic, but if you play with a lot of people and have something like a tunnel, it can become a real mess. So we're gonna go without traffic for now. We can change the rest later. So now we're gonna go to placement, and first of all we have to place the trigger. So basically this is where you would go in free mode to start the race if you have those enabled. So now we have 30 jets over here in a big row like that. And I'm trying to properly align it with the bridge here because this is where I want to go first. And now I'm gonna set a checkpoint just a bit away because I don't really know where we're gonna go next, but I just want to have a second checkpoint so we can fly what we built now. So most important are obviously the props for the race. Already at the beginning we have the stunt air tubes. Those are actually way too big in my opinion to be stunt air tubes. But we're gonna use them to actually make the race uncheesable, so you can't cheat. And so gonna do it about like that. Actually use a bigger one. And if you have big objects like that and nothing to snap them to, I go to advanced options, go to override position, use override. And here I can switch between world and local. What this means is world are the world coordinates. So X, Y, and Z seen from the world. But if I have it on local, it's just how this is currently placed. So you can see the arrows here. If I compare it to the world, you see it's a little bit offset. It's not straight how we want it. So we're gonna go with local for now. And we can see this looks actually quite well already. And yeah, this looks good. First try, actually don't need to do much here. Yeah, you still need to make it a little bit bigger, but That should not be a problem. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit A because I'm currently doing it with controller. And I'm gonna make a little smaller one for the rest. Yeah, this matches nicely. Does it? I hope it does. No, I'm gonna need to use the larger one. So I just go here on prop snapping, turn it to on, go a little bit closer, and bam, there we go. So this is already our start area, and it's protected. Nobody can fly out. So the problem is though that if you spawn in, like for the very first time in an air race, you're gonna fly some meters forward where you can't even steer because it's just making you fly forwards before the countdown even starts. So we need some more space here. So we're gonna go and actually put another stunt air tube here. If you don't see it, just turn the snapping off because then it's stuck somewhere. This size should fit nicely. Turn prop snapping on again. And there we go. Now for the actual stunt part, because flying through these big tubes is way too easy, we go to the normal. Well, actually, no, we're gonna stick with the stunt air tubes and switch to snapping. Switch to 1 second, not the curves. There we go. So what I found to be the best way to switch to the other tubes or any other obstacles is to use the air tube quarter gate. So you see we have a quarter gate here where you can fly through. So I'm gonna set that towards this place, and once it's snapped you can just use the controls to turn stuff and it will stay snapped. So you can actually set where you want to go, and it seems to look the best to do it that way. So now we have a gate here where you fly through. That's pretty cool in my opinion. Just quickly check if you can fly under. No, you can't. That's great. All right. As I said, we're gonna switch to the other tubes now. Those are the normal stunt tubes. As you can see, you can even snap them towards the big ones, but we don't want to do that. So snapping off. Now we're gonna switch to which one? Yeah, this one, to the tube medium, and we set it here. And since I want to have a bit of angle, I'm going to use the position override, go back, and override rotation 2. Gonna set it to local, and here I can adjust where I want it to go. I want to have it quite straight actually here, so I'm gonna quickly fly through the tube and check how it looks. I want to have it centered also, so I'm gonna go back, switch position a bit. So this looks centered. This is how to make it cleanly. Of course, you have here these places where you can theoretically still fly through, but you can just place pretty much any object there to make that not possible. So just gonna hit A when you're done, and it's set. Next up, we're gonna go and add a little curve. Not a big one, just like 15D. 15D means 15 degrees. Turn on snapping and start to rotate and match it up here. And as you can see, if you continue like that, I will just add it towards there, which is pretty cool. And hey, do what I want. Yeah, that's totally what I wanted. Okay. All right, we have this little part over here. And it's also good always to check back if it's even possible to fly through. This looks definitely like it's possible. It's just a bit sad that it's not perfectly centered, but it's fine the way it is. I mean, this is a tutorial and I will probably finish the race too, but it doesn't have to be perfect in my opinion. So you can quickly test if you go to test. As you can see, countdown, but we have even at the first lane enough space to fly through there. Woo! Okay. That obviously works fine. So, a few more tricks, but we're gonna first make the next checkpoint. For that, we want to have a good area for this checkpoint to be moved in. So I need to add a few more curves so we can have actually enough space for that. So I go back to props, stunt tubes, and add some more curves. So at the start, we made the transition to the smaller tubes with this quarter gate air stud tube. We're gonna do the same thing now, just revert it. So I'm gonna go to stunt air tubes and go to air tube quarter gate. Like that, you can actually decide where you want to go altitude wise, because if you say I want to go this direction, I mean this height, I'm just gonna say like that. But if you want it to go up, you can also just put the tube, I mean the gap down here. And for sake of making it perfect, because right now it isn't, I'm gonna go to advanced options again, override position, override rotation. And as you can see, this isn't rotated properly. So no. Great. Now I actually placed it by mistake, which is awesome. And the editor is bugged again. Great. So, wow, it's really bugged. Never seen that before. Yeah, now it works. Ha 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 ha. Funny. Rockstar, 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 Rockstar. So, now back to advanced position. Okay, this is good enough. All right. Now we're gonna add a few more tubes because we want to set the next checkpoint within those big tubes. Doesn't have to be too big. Air tube large is a bit short, but it's okay. So I prefer to do it in the air tubes large. You can also make air tubes huge, but this is really fine enough. So prop snapping on. It's really important to turn on and off prop snapping the whole time pretty much. So we're gonna go and delete this little checkpoint over here. And just move it in here. We obviously don't want it to be close to any of the walls, because then you could theoretically cheese it. And we obviously don't want that to happen. You can also align it by checking the back of the wall with the laser in the back. So that way you can center it perfectly. All right, there we go. First checkpoint after start. So that's the most important essentials already, guys. But a few more tips and tricks gonna follow now. So there's a lot of really cool props in the editor by now. For anything advanced, like if you want to make your own buildings to fly through, you would obviously use the stunning blocks. I can just advise you to, I mean, they work with snapping too, by the way, so I can just advise you to use these if you're going for something like that. And if you are actually making them vertical, that you're gonna use obviously the pitch and then the advanced options to check if you're actually perfectly lined up. Right now it's 87.6 degrees, which is obviously wrong. We want 90 degrees. In the bottom bar, you can see fine adjust hold, fast adjust hold. If you click these, it's going to go super fast or super duper slow. That really depends. And I will always advise you to do it that way because it's just so much cleaner. It takes more time, but the races are worth a lot more. Beside that, you can do really cool stuff with the stunt ramps. Obviously, you can't really use them for jumps. That would make much sense in the air race, but you can use them for walls. So if you turn it basically sideways, you can use it as a wall. There's also those bigger ones that are perfect for big curved walls in a bigger area for a race, which is pretty cool to use them. So also another tip for really cool spaces to fly. There's also even bigger ones like that. And I sometimes use these ones too. You can use them as well as a curved wall, or you can use them to fly through between all those little parts here, which is cool too. There's also a bigger variant. And then if we go to stunt set pieces, obviously there's a lot of stuff you can't really use for much. Actually, I haven't found a use for that, for example, yet. Theoretically, you can fly a loop too with this. I mean, you could enter from below and fly out again, but I don't really see a way to prevent somebody from cheating that. Spiral, uninteresting for what I've seen. And then we have these big parts, also not very usable. You can use the stunt target small or a stunt target to, for example, land on if you make a non-lap race as the last checkpoint, or if you actually gonna go into reverse flight. So for example, you make somebody land on that and then go into reverse flight. And yeah, tire hoop, can't do that much with that. There's the, you can stack objects by a low prop stacking. I mean, should be always. Track hurdle doesn't do much. There's a stunt plane runway, which is also pretty cool for some stuff. Stunt signs, we have this little red sign here. I don't usually use it as an obstacle, but I use it as a information for somebody to slow down, because on the longer races, you sometimes don't have many checkpoints, and it's really annoying if you crash into something because you didn't know that you're gonna slow down. So I use these to let people know to slow down at points. You can fly under these signs pretty well. That's pretty cool to implement. There's also bigger ones. Then you have this one, which actually goes up and down. Laser matches through that. Implementing those blimps is pretty cool too, especially at the beginning of a race. You can set them and then go into the race details. And where is it? Set blimp text and type in whatever you want. Can't type. Awesome. Hit enter and then it says PCPI. It's awesome. What else do we have? It's props. Yeah, just more of that. It's kind of obvious what you can do with these. And with Stunt Special, that also works for jets and planes, so you can use them. Same with the slowdowns. You can just basically fly over them a bit, and that will slow you down. Boost refill doesn't do much. Airspeed boost obviously also works. Then there's these fire hooves. I mean, they're looking cool, but I haven't found much use for them yet. Yeah, and I don't think I'll really use them in the future going forward. And those were pretty much the most important parts. You can also use the arrows if you want to make something more clear to fly through. That's very helpful, especially for less experienced people, or if you have a very confusing race. Use these to actually show what's up. It's also good to show them in a different color than your racetrack. For example, red on blue is pretty good. Then we have these neon tubes. You can put them into a race and actually make it pretty cool, because you can go, where was it? Yeah, for example, you can change the neon style here. Warp looks pretty cool, for example, or spirals or waves. Neon road. There's a lot of stuff you can do with these, which is pretty cool. So setting them at the end or the beginning of one stunt part is always pretty cool, in my opinion. Yeah, so I guess that's it for the tutorial. Obviously, you would need to combine the techniques from earlier, where you move the smaller into the bigger ones at the end too, because it's good to make those races nearly uncheatable. Obviously, there's always a way you can cheat races, and you can never make it 100% safe. But the more you work, the more work you put in there, the better it is. So I recommend to make them actually completely locked off, so nobody can fly out. So at the end, we're just gonna have a little test run. I hope I don't die. I would be really ashamed dying on that easy track. But you never know. Haven't played GTA in a few days, so gonna play it safe here, fly super slow. Oh damn. Oh damn, no! And also for you to know, in these race editors, you have different physics. I should have been blown up by that. I actually completely forgot about that part here. Yeah, that works. Okay. Jet hovering is mainly just about knowing where to fly. And obviously you can end it up by landing on one of these platforms, for example. Or you land on a platform like that to go in a reverse flight. So basically, if I landed up here, so I could then initiate an easy reverse flight like that, that's a way. And as you can see, these slow me down. They just slowed me completely down. Woo! And they kept slowing me down afterwards. I haven't seen that. They completely ripped me into the water. Well, anyways, guys. That's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. I know I put it quite fast, all the information, but the video is already nearly half an hour long. I really hope you guys send us some of your races if they are really good and have quality. And are at least a bit hard to do or are really hard to do, that'd be very cool. And we're really looking forward to fly your races. So please send them in, would be awesome. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a like, and also obviously a comment. We'd like to hear your voices. And if you have any questions, we're gonna answer them as quickly as we can. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you on the next one. Bye bye.